Hey, it's Celia on the record at WNXP with Say She She, a portion of which sitting with me here after a fantastic performance. Thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourselves.
Well, thank you so much for having us. I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Pia.
It is impossible to not move to your music. I was so obnoxious out here, just an audience of a few, but I'm sure that's the experience you have on tour, is watching everybody move their bodies. That's part of the mission of this group, right? I don't want to read directly from your website, but I understand there's a bit of a mandate of why you do what you do. Can you share?
Yeah, Sabrina's the dance queen, and from day one, she's just like, got to get that tempo up, because we love it so much when people are out on the dance floor, and like it's less about a spectatorship, viewership facing us, and we're like a spectacle. It's more like a community vibe, and we're all jamming out together and dancing, and it's a form of protest. We've just been really thinking a lot about how important it is to keep doing what we do, because our mission is to like preserve spaces of joy. Because, with everything that's going on in the political climate, it feels like if we don't protect that, and we let them take the joy, then they've won. And so for us, it's the mission is to let's be together and dance.
Yeah, I think we treat the live experience or the live show kind of like a moment when you can, forget about things or maybe address them in a way that's, getting some energy out. And so that's always been super important to us, as Pia said. And, I think on the album, there's, maybe we'll have some slower, more intimate songs. Sometimes that comes through the live set, but generally we like to get people moving out on the dance floor.
You do. And you've been doing it for 3 albums. Cut and Rewind, one of our favorites as a station, as a collective, but personally as well, of last year. I understand you started writing and really got back in studio right after the last tour, right?
Oh, yeah.
So explain that process, because I also read you have a bit of discipline when it comes to like this looseness of this great band, but let's not overthink what we're laying down. Can you walk us through how you recorded this record?
Yeah, so we really use a lot of analog instruments and analog tools, and we record to tape. So the limitation of that is kind of how it's informed our recording process. So when we literally we will run a song, by the time we've written it, which is usually in the room together, by the end of the day, we will play it 3 times through, and that's really like as much as the tape can handle, and pick the best take.
That's it. Yeah.
So, and it works for us. And, for us, it's also about recreating the live experience in the same way that the music is, and it's like what we call like honest music. It's truly what it is, and what you listen to and feel attached to and have your nostalgia and your ties to is what you will see on the stage as well. And yeah, so that's kind of the process.
Yeah, I think, we record out in LA in our producer studio, Killian Sound. And I think, in LA, you have neighbors nearby. So there's some certain constraints with how late you can play. And I think that's played a role in kind of how we shape our writing sessions. We know that we have to be done by a certain time. So it kind of like channels the energy and the focus and the creativity in a way that, has just worked for us. And being on the road so much, everybody's busy. We come together and we know we're writing, for 3 days, and we write 3 songs.
It's like the pressure's on. You're in a pressure cabin. Do it now.
Kind of. But it's so fun, and our band is so incredible. And they're just such amazing musicians, but they're also feminists and so supportive of kind of the vision that we, the direction we want to go. And it's just a really creative and cathartic kind of experience to write with them.
And it's so rare that you can find that, because, not to like dug on all that, because we've worked with some fabulous men in the past, but it really it is refreshing to have the fact that they really respect the leadership coming from the women, and that's just beautiful to experience and to feel supported, because there are things that we don't have the language for sometimes. I might not know exactly which minor chord is happening at which time, but they will still allow us, they have the patience to still like work through what we're trying to describe exactly, and it always just comes through, and it's just like magnetism. I always say when we met them, it was like meeting your cousins. You didn't know them, but you love them.
I'm hearing magnetism, no mansplaining in the organ that is Say She She. I want to hinge to what you just said about honest music, because I feel like you were speaking musically about it being honest, just capture it as it is. But also you're honest as a group with not just shut up and sing, let's dance, but honest and responsive to what's going on around you. Like you said, it's a form of protest. I want to harken back, even though we love Cut and Rewind, to the release of Norma, which we played a lot of on this station too. It ended up on Silver, but you released it mere days after Roe versus Wade. decision, overturn.
Yeah.
It's because you were responsive to knowing that was going to be the decision. Can you take us back to that place too, and about Norma specifically?
Actually, we didn't know it was going to be the decision, and the song really was about, you know, getting people to, and we released it just prior to the final decision, unfortunately, and so it was meant to incite and build people's rallying cry, and write a letter to the state, and let's not give up, let's do something now. And we wrote it the day that it was announced.
That there was a chance that Roe v. Wade would be overturned. It wasn't set in stone, like she said. But.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and we went into the studio that day, and it was like, well, we can't write anything else. You know, let's just toss out all the other ideas that we had on the schedule for the day, and like, this is what we're talking about. This is our life, and you know, that's how we start every writing session is talking to each other. And the three of us will. Sometimes it's crying, you know, and sometimes it's like, well, this is therapy and our catharsis, and the only way that we can deal with what's happening and start to process it together is breaking it down and then putting it and channeling it into music and to song. And you know, the most beautiful thing that has ever happened to me in my career has been when we performed Norma, and there was a sea of young girls at a festival in Seattle, and they were singing all the words. And I've got like chills thinking about it now. And it was just, wow, this is amazing, because it's our role as older women to support these younger women who are now going to grow up not knowing if they have access to healthcare. You know, I personally have had an abortion when I was very young, and it's changed the trajectory of my life for the better. It was absolutely necessary, and it was a terrible experience. Nobody chooses to do that, but I'm so grateful I had the amazing support from the doctors and nurses, and the healthcare system in England obviously is free and very, very well you know, presented to young people for options. And to think that there are young people out there who now will be so scared if something like that happens. You know, we're speaking to our inner child and to our younger selves in some ways too. And so that was definitely like, it made us realize that we have to always try to support the younger generation and know that we're out here rallying, and we're going to fight it as well. And we're going to try and get this reversed in your lifetime so that you don't have to live your entire life in fear.
Yeah. Whew.
Sorry.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Whiskey now.
Can we? Yeah, right. Exactly. What time is it? 5 o'clock somewhere. You all, thank you for coming through Nashville on tour. Obviously, very excited. And again, to see you with this band and how tight you are, like the loose, the tight, the getting it just right. But how did you women first meet and get together and decide, okay, 3-part harmony is the direction we're going? I understand you've all been part of other projects, but why did you hone in on this as like 3 main vocalists?
I mean, I think it's based on a friendship that we formed, really. I mean, the way that I met Pia is because she moved into the apartment above me in this old tenement building in the Lower East Side in Manhattan. So it was, you know, kind of by chance. But as soon as we got to talking and hanging out, you know, we were fast friends. And yeah, we had, like you said, we had both been in other projects. Naya was doing other things. You know, we'd go and see and support each other in these other projects. And, you know, kind of just one day Pia turned to me and she was like, let's just do this. Let's just, you know, we'd been writing songs anyway for fun in our apartment. Like it just seemed like a no-brainer. And
the love of girl groups. Come on. Who doesn't love harmonies? All 3 of us had been singing in harmonies since we were little anyway. So like, it's natural, you know, we would be out in the restaurants and then we'd just be like singing and making up random ad libs and harmonizing with each other, and people would get very annoyed. And now they actually buy tickets. What's going on?
But it's a real New York story, and I'm forever grateful to our landlord, Joe, for
thanks, Joe,
letting us both live there.
Yeah, if you're going to be making noise separately, might as well be best friends and make it together.
Thanks for not fixing the floorboards in the rafters so she could hear everything, and she had to be my friend to tell me to shut up.
Yeah, it's a beautiful origin story. Well, I'm so glad to watch your development. We love, again, this 3rd record, and I wish you the best on tour, and I hope you just stop in Nashville every single time so we can boogie with you.
I know.
And rage a little bit, you know, too.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.